everyone. Vlad tells me this one is a bit of a classic, although not an early classic. Pantera, or as he says, Pantera, in his wonderful Romanian accent. Cemetery Gates. Well, let's see what I have to read about it, and then maybe I'll have some more comments. Pantera is an American heavy metal band from Arlington, Texas, formed in 1981. The band is credited for developing and popularizing the subgenre of groove metal in the 1990s. Regarded as one of the most successful and influential bands in heavy metal history. Okay, so maybe we're talking kind of on the level of, I don't know, Metallica, Black Sabbath, something like that, or maybe not quite, or somewhere in that area. Pantera has sold around 20 million records worldwide and has received 4 Grammy nominations. Okay, they're pretty good. At least pretty big. Aside from their post-glam thrash metal influences, the band members cite heavy metal pioneers Black Sabbath, okay, as one of their favorite bands. As a tribute, Pantera has recorded 3 different covers of Black Sabbath songs. Cemetery Gates is a power ballad, the 5th track from the 1990 album Cowboys from Hell. The song showcases... That reminds me of this joke about Texas, you know, God created the world and then he created hell, and then he had some leftovers he were no good for either place, and so he made Texas. Sorry, Texans. Cowboys from Hell. The song showcases Anselmo's vocal ability and range, concluding with screaming high notes answered by Dimebag Darrell on guitar in a trade-off. It received a large amount of airplay by rock stations and has become one of Pantera's most popular songs. Guitar World magazine readers voted the song solo the 35th greatest of all time. Metal Hammer considered Cemetery Gates to be the best Pantera song, writing that it is one of the greatest epic ballads in metal history and that it is etched into the hearts and minds of metalheads everywhere. Well then, metalheads on my channel, sit back and enjoy my experience with Cemetery Gates. Which other piece was it that really startled me early on? Was that a Black Sabbath piece? I don't remember which one it was, but I remember that there was one of them where I wanted to look up because I felt like maybe there was a bucket of rocks dumping on my head or something. This one wasn't quite like that, but it did catch me by surprise. And this guitar has a different sound than a lot of the guitars I've been listening to. I want to say it's a little bit, well, it's squeaky. There's a sort of rusty quality, like a squeaky hinge or something, an axle that has sand in the bearing or something. There's this quality of roughness, but it's not, at least not yet, really heavy, thick feeling. It's more like a flat metal spring piece of sheet metal. There's this flex and kick to it, but it's not really thick and full. Or we could say like a kazoo.
Nothing
that's what it is. I'm listening to this now, the plucked guitar and the instrumentation here. It's a lot like, we could say, the Renaissance era folk music instruments. They have this hard edge to them, but at the same time, they're not these big, massive, like I'm thinking pipe organ quality, blow you over with the sound. There's something very specific about their sonic quality and the energy it carries that, well, if you ever get a chance to listen to some Renaissance dance music done on authentic instruments in an authentic style, and I say that in quotes because I won't get into the whole debate about that, but there's something very appealing in a way. It kind of pulls you in. Sonically, this is kind of having the same effect on me up to this point. And I'm listening to this guitar riff, and it really is quite a catchy riff, isn't it? In fact, I kind of like what they're doing. He is doing, whoever is playing the guitar. There's the first portion of it, which is pretty consistent, and then what happens after that kind of changes. Sometimes it goes up to the the squeaky part. Other times, like right here, as we're preparing for this next verse, it does this instead. Just that bit and starting over. And so it keeps you on the edge of your seat just a little bit. It's not just, okay, the same riff going over and over and over again. There's a little bit of piecing it together, a bit like several Legos or something like that, where piece, 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 and we can see how the different blocks, the different Lego pieces, actually give a nice 3D shape to it.
Sometimes when I'm alone, I wonder aloud if you're watching over me, someplace far about. I must reverse my life. I can't live in the past and set my soul free. Belong to me at last. Through all those complex years.
And maybe this is why it's... Was it called a ballad? Yes. Maybe this is why it's called a power ballad, because as we get to the verse, suddenly we lose all of that guitar riff, and it becomes very light with just the plucked strings and the voice. Maybe that's partly what makes me feel like it's a bit Renaissance-y in style, because you just have the plucked strings like a harp, or some other lute, something. And then the voice, and that's pretty much what you hear for several lines. And then almost imperceptibly, the instrumentation starts coming back in and making it stronger. And then suddenly his voice goes crazy, right?
I can't live in the past and set my soul free.
Here comes the guitar.
Through all those complex years, I thought I was alone. I didn't care to look around and make this world my own. And when she died, I should have cried and spared myself some pain. You left me incomplete, all alone, as the memories still remain.
Back to this. I kind of like this riff.
The chance to save my soul, and my concern is now in vain. Believe the word, I will unlock my door and pass the cemetery.
I really like what they did with the rhythm, both at the beginning of this solo and at the end of it. It was announced by a sudden shift to triplets. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dum bum 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 bum, and then we're back into it, but this time it's the guitar solo. And now at the end, there was also this nice little playing with the rhythm. Not really as a show off or, oh, hey, I can do something cool with my rhythm here. It more felt like a marker along the way, something that is a sort of bookend or we could say a frame for painting or something. And it frames this section nicely and really sets it in relief. Right here. Right here. And now we're back into this. Here's the triplets again. What a way to wrap up the piece. I was listening to his voice along, and okay, he sounded good. It was what I've come to expect with metal, the the style of singing, and he sounded perfectly competent to me. But then suddenly at the end here, as I'm expecting things to wrap up, wind down, and come to a conclusion, suddenly there's something different which comes in, and it is impressive, and it's very well set. So it's almost like we have dueling, a competition between the voice and the guitar, and he says, all right, I'm good with my voice. Let me show you what I can do with my voice. And then the guitarist says, oh, hold on, but I can do one better. And then he says, but I can do one better. And it's almost scary, isn't it? We're winding up here with the guitar. Fair enough. And suddenly it's the voice. And the guitar says, well, I can do that too. And the voice says, I can do that. And the guitar is almost struggling to keep up. And then the guitar says, actually, no, I was just fooling. I can go higher. Really nicely done. Well, on a more serious note, I feel like that ending is very appropriate to the sentiment of the sentiment that's being expressed through this song, and it's almost as if we hear this scream, this cry. There's a sort of eerie, frightening quality about it, but also this urgency, this desire in it. And anyway, so it's not just that it's a competition between, or a playful competition, but it actually is a very, very good way to kind of summarize everything that has been expressed through this piece of music. And that's not an easy thing to do, taking a piece where you have this great riff, you have all of this being expressed through the lyrics, and the music is going along just fine, all good. And then you get to the end and you add something new, something different, something that hasn't been really heard before in the music. Think of writing an essay and in your concluding paragraph, bringing in a completely new idea. Probably your teacher would say, well, hold on. If you're going to have that new idea, this cannot be the concluding paragraph. But this is not just a completely new idea. Although it is musically completely new and different, it is the summary of everything. Or perhaps you could say it's the distilling of everything. And so it actually works, and it works very, very well. I feel like this. I've listened to another piece at the Graves, and then one entitled Graves or the Graves, and now we have this one, Cemetery Gates. I feel like, maybe these three should become a trio, a trinity, a trilogy, a something, triumvirate, whatever, a set of three. Probably there are a lot of heavy metal pieces on these topics, so maybe we shouldn't get stuck on three, but it feels like a good set of three to have heard. And I like that this one didn't feel like just a repeat of the other two, or a kind of weak copy of something. It felt like it had its own voice and its own message. And so although the title is not terribly different from At the Graves, yet what is being expressed really is quite different, isn't it? So, well, there I have my first exposure to Pantera, and who knows, maybe they'll come back at some point in the future, but at least I'm adding to my little map of who's who and when and where, and let's see what comes next, and I will see you all soon.